welcome back, and this is another movie review, which I know I haven't done in a while, but I do have a lot of movies I've seen recently this year that I need to review. And this movie so far is probably my favorite of them. This movie is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now, before I get into this review, I just want to say that, first off, I've never really been a really big Captain America fan, to tell you the truth, and I've never read the comics. I've also never actually watched the first movie. So, I didn't really know what to expect from this, but I absolutely fucking loved this movie. It was so fucking incredible. From what I've heard, at the end of the first Captain America movie, Captain America was frozen, and then he woke up at the very end and whatnot, and that of course led him into becoming an Avenger, essentially. And then of course it carries over this movie. In this movie he's been awake for like 2 years roughly. Alright, so he's pretty used to a lot of the things from the modern era, of course, although he is still getting used to them. He still has he actually has a checklist of things he still wants to check out, which I think is pretty cool. Alright, hold on a sec here. Alright, so, yeah, but now this movie lasted for roughly 2 hours and 30 minutes. So it was a pretty long movie, and when it gets put on theater or on TV in the future, it'll probably be damn near 3 hours, because when it's on TV then there's commercials and whatnot. So yeah, it's a pretty long movie. But really none of the time that they spent in the movie was wasted at all. I thought they dealt with their time very well. The pacing was excellent. Alright, so I'm trying to look for something here. I should have looked for it. But anyways, though, so the plot of this movie is pretty, well, it takes place where both the first Captain America left off, but also the Avengers, in the sense that although S.H.I.E.L.D. had possession of Loki's scepter at the end of the Avengers, I'm pretty sure, for some reason they don't now. Like, they lost it, or it was stolen from them or something. I'm not exactly too sure. It is revealed who does have it at the mid-credit scene at the end of the movie, which I'll talk about when I get to towards the end of this review. But you would have thought that Thor would have decided to take the Loki scepter, the Tesseract scepter, up to back to Asgard with him for safekeeping. You know, I mean, personally I thought that would have been a huge fucking priority, considering that's the Tesseract supposedly that gave Loki all his powers in the Avengers to begin with. But yeah, I didn't really understand that too well. But apparently S.H.I.E.L.D. has lost possession somehow of Loki's scepter. Alright, the Tesseract. And there's Captain. The plot was kind of difficult for me to follow, just simply because so much happened. So I'm going to look. Yes, I'm reading off here. I know I'm cheating. Sorry, so much happened in this fucking movie. It was difficult for me to follow all of it. Sorry. And you know, I don't write scripts for the reviews because I want to get them out as quickly as possible. Yeah, I say that, and yet I have a movie I watched in fucking January still on the back burner for review. I know, right? Anyways, 2 years after the Battle of New York, which was the battle for took place in the Avengers. For those of you who don't know, Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, works in Washington D.C. for the espionage agency S.H.I.E.L.D. under director Nick Fury while adjusting to contemporary society. Rogers and Agent Natasha Romanoff, also known as Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson, which was amazing, are sent with S.H.I.E.L.D.'s counter-terrorism strike team led by Agent Rumlow to free hostages aboard a S.H.I.E.L.D. vessel from George's Baytrock, and Rogers and his mercenaries. Mid-mission, Rogers discovers Romanoff has another agenda: to extract data from the ship's computers for Fury. Rogers returns to Traxxon S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters to confront Fury and is briefed about Project Insight, the helicarriers linked to spy satellites designed to preemptively eliminate threats. Now, first off, I just want to say here, when Steve goes to Fury, Steve berates Fury for not being honest with him. And here's where I have to say, really, dude? Really? Like, you're complaining that the director of a secret government organization isn't being honest with you. On what planet does that make any fucking sense? Like, wasn't that the whole one of the big things in the Avengers was that you can't trust Nick Fury because he's always going to keep fucking secrets from you? So that didn't make any fucking sense to me at all. Alright. Unable to decrypt Romanoff's recovered data, Fury becomes suspicious about Insight. So, and there's a lot that happens in this fucking movie, but we do learn that later on that S.H.I.E.L.D. has basically been compromised by Hydra, who apparently was a villain and was the main villainous force in the first of a Captain America movie. All right, but we then learn that Hydra's been secretly living inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. all this time. So the same force that Captain America had to fight in the first movie, again, I haven't watched it, that's just what I've heard, he has to then fight again in this movie. Apparently there was this scientist in the first movie who worked for Hydra his body died, but he was able to put his brain inside this supercomputer. Alright, and so he relayed everything to Captain America and Black Widow. Alright, I'm just going to be referring to her as Black Widow, because that's what her superhero name is, essentially. Alright. So yeah, and it was really intelligent how they laid out everything in this fucking movie. Like, it really was. Alright. And also, of course, there's the main villain, the Winter Soldier, who I forget what they said his real name was. Was it, oh god, this is gonna bother me, I have to find this now. I just had this before starting the fucking review. This Bucky, here he is, his name is Bucky, who was apparently in the first movie one of Captain America's close friends and comrades during World War II. Alright. And however, Bucky has been captured by Hydra, even though Bucky was supposed to be dead, I guess, but Bucky was, I guess, saved and captured by Hydra. And turned into the Winter Soldier now. That is one slight disappointment that I did have with this movie, though, is that the Winter Soldier's not in the movie for very long. He shows up in the first 15 minutes of the movie, and then he doesn't show up again for an hour and 20 fucking minutes. I'm not even kidding. And so that was really disappointing for me that the Winter Soldier didn't show up nearly as much as he should have in the movie, because wasn't he he wasn't the main villainous force, Hydra was obviously, but you would still think though that he would have shown up a lot more than he actually did. Although he is definitely going to be in the second or the third Avengers or the third Captain America movie. I'm not sure if he'll be in the Avengers 2 Age of Ultron or not, but that would be pretty cool if he was in both, though, you know. But he's definitely going to be in Captain America 3. Alright. Another thing I really liked is that they put the fucking Falcon in here, which I didn't know he was going to be the Falcon. I've heard of the Falcon, but I didn't know he was going to be the Falcon at first, because as I said before, I've never read the comics, so I didn't know that his real name is Sam Wilson, but I didn't actually know that because I've never read the comic. So anyone who's watching the movie probably knew that immediately once he said his name, Sam Wilson. Probably knew immediately that, hey, the Falcon's gonna be in this fucking movie. I did not know that, so it was a surprise to me, but it was really nice to see. He looked really fucking awesome, I thought, in this movie. Alright. Let's see, what else do I have to talk about here before I talk about anything else in terms of the plot or the characters. The acting was fucking amazing in this movie, I just want to say that right now. And so were the all the effects, which there's not a whole lot of effects. Like, I'm not sure what kind of effects they use for superhero movies these days in terms of Captain America style, where really all the effects they really need are technological effects. I'm not sure if they use special effects or practical effects, but whatever they use, they looked fucking awesome. Alright. I also love that Nick Fury finally got a fucking action scene in this goddamn movie. It's like, seriously, this is Samuel L. motherfucking Jackson. And he's been in how many, like, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these movies already, I think, Iron Man, well, yeah, 4 technically. In Iron Man 2, he appeared at the very end. In Iron Man 3, he was, Iron Man 1 he appeared at the very end. In Iron Man 2 he was in there quite a bit. And then of course the Avengers and then this one. So 4 fucking movies that he was in so far. And this is the first like extensive action scene that he's fucking got. Like, this is Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the action scene that he got wasn't half-assed either. Despite its length, it wasn't half-assed. It looked fucking awesome. Like that fucking car he was in. Basically, after S.H.I.E.L.D. was compromised, which we don't really know the specifics yet, I don't think, at that point, but after S.H.I.E.L.D. was compromised, Hydra basically sends cops and S.H.I.E.L.D. agents alike after him. Alright, and so he has to find a way to sneak away. Then he goes into Captain America's apartment, or Steve Rogers' apartment, tells him not to trust informs him via a phone that they're being basically Nick Fury is just making idle chit-chat with his voice, but he relays the important information with his phone because they're being watched. And he informs them about this too. He informs them that they're being watched and the S.H.I.E.L.D. has been compromised, and after they're attacked, in which his neighbor, which I forget what her, is it Maria Hill? Oh, it's Steve's neighbor. Although, I'm not exactly... I'm not sure. But whoever his neighbor was is actually Agent 11, I guess, or something like that, of S.H.I.E.L.D., although she only appears in like 2 scenes. She helps Steve escape and get Nick Fury to the hospital after Nick Fury basically tells him not to trust anyone. Which later on we will learn that probably meant him as well, And, Nick Fury dies, but no, he actually doesn't. Later on he comes back, obviously. Like, they weren't gonna fucking kill off Nick Fury, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. They weren't gonna fucking do it. Like, if they were going to do it, it would probably be at the very end of the last Avengers movie that they make. I'm just saying, if they were to do it, that's probably when they would actually fucking do it. Whew. But not like this. Bullshit. So, yeah, but anyways, though. What else? God, so much fucking happened in this movie. I think I talked about the action scenes, but in case I didn't, I'll just talk about the action scenes one last time. The action scenes were fucking incredible. Like, they really were. All of them. Every single fucking one of them. No matter how no matter how major or minor they were all amazingly well done, amazingly well choreographed. The lighting was incredible, so you could clearly see what was going on. Even though most of them, actually all of them, were really fast paced. They weren't too fast paced, so you could still see what was going on. All right, I think that's pretty much all there is to talk about with the actual content of the movie itself. Except at the end of the movie, I think most people assume that Nick Fury's dead, even though he's actually not. He's basically laying low by himself for a while. It'll be interesting though. The next movie I expect to see him in, I'm not too sure. Maybe he might be in Guardians of the Galaxy, because I know that's in Phase 3 of the Avengers. Well, no, Phase 2 of the Avengers. So he might be in there maybe at the very end to try to induct them into the Avengers, similar to how he did with Iron Man at the end of Iron Man 1, So he might be in the Guardians of the Galaxy there, but if not, then the next movie he's going to be in will probably be, majorly anyways, will probably be the Avengers 2 Age of Ultron, obviously. Alright, but yeah, pretty much it for the film, though. The film was fucking amazing. There were these little minor issues I did have with it, the Winter Soldier not being in it nearly as much as he should have, really. That's, the only one. Other than that, the film was fucking amazing. I loved it. I definitely recommend it if you're a Captain America fan, if you like the first. It hasn't been out for all that long. It's in the U.S. It's only been out since April 4th, and it hasn't even came out anywhere else yet, I don't think. So yeah, I do want to talk about lots of Easter eggs that I had in this movie. Bruce Banner was actually mentioned really quickly, obviously akin to Bruce Banner, aka the Incredible Hulk, obviously being in the Avengers 2. Also, they mentioned Doctor Strange. Well, actually, they mentioned Steve Strange. I'm not sure. I think it was Steve Strange. I don't remember exactly what Doctor Strange's first real name is, but I think they mentioned Steve Strange. I could be wrong, though. Probably alluding that Doctor Strange is coming up pretty soon here. Not exactly sure when, if it will be in the event, if it will be in be in the Avengers 2 or the Avengers 3 or the Captain America 3 or what it will be in, but I'm pretty sure Doctor Strange is going to be coming soon. Also, we did get a quick glimpse of Stark Tower, which was the Avengers Tower in the Avengers movie. Still ravaged up from the events of the Avengers, and it still has the Avengers logo on it too, which is pretty cool. There's also a reference to Tony Stark in this, in general in this movie, because that one guy who's leading Hydra now basically tells Fury that, if I agree to this deal, you have to get Iron Man to stop my daughter's birthday party, and not just a quick flyby either. He actually has to stop Mingle, so that was pretty funny. There was also, of course, a Stan Lee cameo. He was playing an old security guard. Of course, there's going to be a fucking Stan Lee cameo in this movie. He's in one of these movies when it isn't there. Hold on a second, I'm going to check the time real quick. Right, the time looks good. Almost done here anyways. So yeah, the Stan Lee cameo was really good. And there was also that one guy, that Rumlow guy, who I actually looked it up, and apparently in the comics he goes on to become Crossbones, who apparently was the successor to the Red Skull, who was a villain in the first movie, I heard. So, and at the end, we think he's dead at first, but at the end of the movie they bring him in with nearly all the skin burnt off of him, so who knows, we might get to see the Red Skull later on too, which would be pretty awesome. Alright, even though I'm not too familiar with him at all, it'd still be pretty kind of cool. And then there's two more scenes I want to talk about, which is the mid-credit scenes where we have this dude who's Baron von Strucker apparently, and this is where Loki's scepter comes into play again, because Baron von Strucker is actually holding Loki's scepter. Alright, and he says, Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. are two sides of the same coin. We have bigger plans for this planet, and yada yada yada. And then the post-credit scene, the end credit scene, shows Baron von Strucker, with two, hold on here. Come on. With, oh god. Well, with two, basically two villains who were apparently in the comics Magneto's children, although I heard that they have to, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I heard that they have to remove all references to them because Fox apparently owns the film rights to Magneto and the word mutants, in fact. So they're calling them Miracles, and he basically has control over a Scarlet Witch and, who was that other one? Damn it. I've got to figure this out. This is going to bother me if I don't state it in this video. What's his name? Quicksilver, yes. Quicksilver. And so that tells us that and I think there was an interview where someone said that, which I originally assumed they're going to be in Captain America 3, but apparently there was an interview where someone said they're actually going to be villains in the Avengers Age of Ultron, the next Avengers movie. So, you know, that's really definitely something to look forward to there, as well as, you know, Baron von Strucker being in the next Avengers movie as well, probably. So, you know, that's all something to look forward to right there. But anyways, I think it's about time for me to finally wrap up this review. It's been going on for a little while now, but I just wanted to get my thoughts on this movie out there. It was really fucking awesome, and I definitely recommend it. Highly recommend it. My stepdad, who went with me to see the movie, said he thought it was better than the Avengers. I didn't quite think it was that good, but it was still a really fucking good movie. So yes, but anyways, overall, I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. See you after, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.